Welcome back to Sports Fights. My name's Jordan Parhar, and we're here with Tyler Bennett, Kyle Benning, and Bill Amos for part 2 of this fight in which we are going to talk about All-Star Games. Now, this is something I think that's a big point of contention with a lot of people, is that they say, oh, the All-Star Game, it's not how it used to be. It's not good anymore. And it's really... It's a fair argument. A lot of these All-Star games, whether it's the NBA, the MLB, the NFL, the NHL, they're all it's just like they leave you wanting more. So my question to the three of you guys is, how would you fix these All-Star games? What would you do to fix them? Tyler, since you won the last round, I'll let you go first.
Okay, well, I think it's pretty easy. I think you give home field, home ice advantage to the winner of the All-Star game. They do it in the MLB. It works out great because there's something to play for, and that's what players want. They want to play for something, not a Honda Pilot or a little box lunch car, They don't want that kind of thing. They want to play for something, and if they win for their team, that team will get home field, home ice advantage, and it will count to possibly winning games when it matters. So I think home field, home ice advantage, whatever you want to call it, is the way to solve All-Star games and get these games actually meaning something.
All right, Kyle, how would you fix these All-Star games?
I would fix it by adding more of an entertainment value to it. So we see with the NBA, the slam dunk contest has become a huge figure in terms of All-Star Weekend. And if all 4 professional leagues had an event similar to it, it could become something huge.
Are you going to slam dunk in hockey?
No, but you have...
What would you
that would be fantastic.
Yeah, Bill, Jonathan Taves slam dunking on Corey Crawford.
No, but in terms of the NFL, every NFL fan watches the NFL Combine. What if we got the pros, while they're named an All-Star, to do some sort of a Combine or some sort of a trick while they're in Hawaii?
Okay, so that's Kyle's argument.
So catch a football on the board.
Surfing football.
Hey,
surfing football.
Polo.
Bill, I think we found something for Johnny Manziel to do. Surfing football.
I think he
there
could
we
do
go.
that.
He could do that.
Yeah, while drinking tequila.
While drinking tequila. Yes. Okay, Bill, how would you fix the All-Star game?
Well, I think we have to go back to an idea that used to work actually quite well. This was in hockey. I know I'm dating myself, but we go back to the last century. And at one time for the All-Star game, you would have the All-Stars versus the Stanley Cup champion. And I think it was a very interesting competition. The game sort of meant a little bit, who's better, a collection of the best stars in your game or the Stanley Cup champion? Kind of builds a little more interest there, to me anyway. I like the idea of having home ice advantage in the Stanley Cup final up for grabs. That's very good. And I don't know how you'd kind of arrange that, though, with what I'm talking about. But something else that I think would increase or up the competitive level, not only you should have two MVPs, offensive and defensive.
Okay. Because
defense is totally ignored in all these contests. It's just, in hockey, like, what is it, 9-8?
13-11.
13-11. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's been two body checks in the last 7 All-Star games, I think.
John Scott.
No, I think 3.
There was a
3.
mock fight.
I think there
John
was,
Scott.
Yeah, John Scott and Patrick Kane.
Yes,
there we go.
Yes, so, to me, that means, well, I could, as a defenseman, I could win for actually playing defense. Or as a goalie, maybe I could get the defensive player by not letting in any goals, so it kind of ramps it up a bit.
Okay, so here we go. So interesting, we've heard these 3 points of view, all different in some aspect. The question I want to throw to you guys is, I'll throw this to Kyle. Kyle, so you say you want to have some sort of skills thing like the slam dunk contest, but don't we already have that in the NHL with the super skills competition?
We do, but it could be totally played up more, I think, don't you think?
Well, how would you play it up then? Let's hear this, because I'm curious. I know Tyler wants to say
want to
something.
hear it. That's originally what I was going to say, is we have the NHL skills competition. NFL, they do have some kind of thing with throwing it through the football through the hoops. I'm sure I've seen it before, and nobody watches.
It's not the same, though. It's not the same.
But how would we tune it up that people would want to watch? Like, what incentive would we have in that competition that you'd be like, hey, this is must-see television, that we have to see Shea Weber shoot a puck 108 miles an hour?
Something just occurred to me, but you answer first.
I would say, in terms of the slap shot competition, put, objects in the middle and see if they can break it, like a wooden board or,
So they're going to subject themselves to possible injury.
No, a slap shot where the puck would break the board.
Oh, thank you.
They're not gonna ram through anything.
Well, I want to make sure what you're talking
Yes, the hitting competition.
We
Who
could.
can run into
or,
something
or
the
we
fastest.
could have cross fertilization. We could have.
Whoa!
We're not even
Whoa,
on the
Bill,
topic
okay,
anymore.
Bill, you said
Bill,
you want to
yeah.
say something to Kyle. Bill, what did you want to say? What did you want to say?
Basketball All-Stars.
Yes.
We have a 3-on-3 hockey game with, the basketball All-Stars
That would be
on
well.
skates.
So that's what you're saying. So cross sports.
And then at the hockey All-Stars, we have little Pat Caden trying to slam dunk.
So he's like
the
Spud.
basketball.
So then it'll be like the Spud Webb of the NHL. Like
Yeah,
he'll
it's kinda
dunk. He'll be the first guy, or like
you
Nate
need
Robinson.
a little,
Yeah.
whatever.
Okay.
That jump
So
is
and then we'll
thing
have
is.
LeBron on
Springboard.
skates.
You need a
Yeah.
springboard.
We'll have LeBron on skates. Kobe. This is Kobe not anymore because he's
Kobe.
not playing any more All-Star games. But this is so outside the box.
It's really outside
If we're
the
being
box.
realistic
It's
here,
really-
would the Cleveland Cavaliers really clear LeBron James to play hockey?
No.
Like in
I mean, this is really
sense.
it's
It'd be
really
entertaining.
It'd be
You gotta
entertaining
give it
for
that.
sure.
yes, of course,
But
of course.
I think that's a good idea as well. But when you have 2 or 3 teams winning the Stanley Cup every year, when you have the Blackhawks winning it 3 out of the
That
5 years,
increases the competition.
but doesn't
That
if we
increases
see the
competitive
Blackhawks in
level.
every All-Star game
But,
again
I mean,
and
if
again
They're
and
going to
again?
keep winning the
But
cup.
if
what
they,
can
well,
you
if
do?
they keep winning the cup and they keep beating the All Stars, I feel like it's just like, oh, can they do it this year? I feel like that
Yeah.
maybe, Bill.
Yeah, I
what you
think you're
need,
right.
maybe what you need is, although see, the perfect thing I feel like would be if the All-Star game was the Stanley Cup winner, depending on whatever conference it is, they
Yes.
play a team of All-Stars from the other conference, and then the winner gets home ice advantage, something like that. But I feel like that's something we'd have to think
But
out.
then
We'd have to
leaves
flesh that out a little bit
leaves
more.
out
That leaves out all the
everybody
West
else in your
people.
Western
So
and
it's
Eastern Conference, though.
yeah, so it's tough.
You know where
Bill-
it would really work, I think,
Yeah.
is in football. You have the Super Bowl champ against the Pro Bowlers.
Yeah,
And
I
you
can
have
see
at the
that.
beginning of the year, not the end when everybody could care.
So would
less.
you say the same thing for hockey too? You would do that as well. So beginning
Yeah,
of the
but
year.
it ramps up interest in
Yeah,
the season to come.
Okay.
And I think it would work great on a Labor Day weekend for the NFL. You know, having your champs, your Broncos against the Pro Bowlers.
Your Peyton Manning, your Mark Sanchez led Broncos,
and you could
taking on the Pro Bowlers.
You give Peyton one more shot.
The only
Come
thing
back.
with that is it's the start of a new season. Teams already gone through free agency. The teams aren't going to be the same as they were.
Then you'll
in the
know
end of the
whether or
season.
not the Broncos have the same jam to go back to the Super Bowl then.
Oh, there we go. Interesting. Okay, guys, let's closing arguments from each of you. Tell me why the other people are wrong, Tyler.
Athletes play for something, and I think the All-Star Game needs something to play for, and I think home field, home ice advantage in meaningful games gives players an opportunity to actually play for something and give 110% because they want to have it in their home barn for meaningful games. And I think it can apply to all of your guys' arguments. You could throw it into yours, it would work, and you could throw it into yours as well. I think it's just something that every league should do because it makes logical sense.
All-Star games are for entertainment value. That's from what we've seen in the last 10, 15 years. It's based on entertainment value to get fans to watch and have fun. So that's why I chose the argument I did.
Well, there's entertainment value and then there's circus. And I think they're becoming circus-like. I really do. It's getting ridiculous. I think you increase the value of the All-Star game by making it more competitive. And I think if you have the All-Stars versus the champion team, could be in almost any sport actually, it makes the game more competitive, makes it more of a real game, and people are more interested, and it has greater cachet, I think.
All right. Well, again, good arguments by all of you guys. First, I will say, Kyle, I agree. The All-Star Game should be about entertainment. I think that's why we watch sports. But at the same time, I think we already kind of do, like Tyler said, I think we kind of already have what you're talking about. We already have the skills competition with hockey. Basketball, we already have the dunk contest. Baseball, we already have the home run derby. Football's the only other one that's really missing something, but I don't know, what do we really want to see? Do I want to see Aaron Rodgers throw passes through, like, tires that are hanging off a tree? No, not really. That doesn't really appeal to me. If you can come up with something that's entertaining, maybe like something that would be cool. Something that would be cool maybe would be like, you know, the XFL, how they used to decide who would get the ball at the start of the game, like put a ball in the middle of the field and have two guys come in and just like run at each other and see who could get it. JJ Watt versus Gronk. I feel like that would be fun. But
Then we're going to be dealing with a whole bunch of new concussions.
Yeah.
exactly.
Exactly.
And football is trying to get away from that, so for that reason, unfortunately, I'm not going to choose your answer. I'm sorry. comes down to Kyle, or sorry, not Kyle, sorry, not Kyle. Comes down to Tyler and Bill.
Yes, indeed.
And this is where it gets interesting. I think, like you both said, I think what gets people to watch these, or what's going to get people into these games is having them matter, having them mean something, and not just for the fans, but for the players themselves. Because right now, they don't really matter too much to the players themselves. I mean, we saw it this year, the All-Star Game in the NHL. It was a huge deal because to John Scott, it mattered. It made a big deal to him. So the players got into it. They really wanted to get behind it. I think a lot of these athletes are egomaniacs. I think that they're very competitive, and I think a fun, cool idea would be to go the old school route and get these teams, these all-star teams, to take on the winners, because I think it's something we haven't seen in years. It's something that, like Bill said, back in the day, in the good old days, that's what things were like.
Oh, by golly.
Right? So I think we're going to give the point to Bill Amos here. So here we go.
Well, thank you very much.
So 1 point for Tyler Bennett, 0 for Kyle. Sorry, Kyle. And 1
Your
for
day
Bill
will
Amos.
come.
All right, so that wraps up part 2 of this edition of Sports Fights. We'll be back with part 3 shortly, in which these three discuss which team is most likely to go on a Cinderella run in the Stanley Cup playoffs. I'm Jordan Parhar. Thank you for joining us.